The art of pretending. I think people love the idea of us more than we ever actually loved each other. When I say us, I mean me and Jason, my boyfriend of 4 years, golden retriever of a man, dependable to a fault. We met during sophomore year of college. He was the guy who helped you carry your laundry up the stairs, who tutored friends without making you feel dumb. He wore baseball caps backwards and never forgot your birthday. And I was the girl who everyone said was so lucky. At first, I believed them. We had that curated sort of relationship that looked amazing from the outside. Vacations to cute airbends in the mountains. Coordinated Halloween costumes. Christmas cards with matching flannel pajamas. Our Instagram looked like a couple's account. Our friends would joke that we were goals. But over time, being part of the perfect couple started to feel like performing in a never-ending school play. We had lines we stuck to. Smiles we knew how to fake. Sex was routine. Fights were quiet, passive, like knocking on a door you're scared to open. We didn't yell, we simmered. And we always made up. Because that's what healthy couples do, right? I didn't hate him. I still don't. That might be the worst part. But something in me started to itch around year 3. A restlessness, like I was living in a house that was a little too clean. Every drawer organized. Every light bulb working. And it made me wonder, is this it? Is this what it means to be in love? The cheating didn't start with sex. That came way later. It started with glances. With leaning in to hear someone laugh. With remembering what a stranger's cologne smelled like more than Jason's. The first time I met Ethan was at my new job, 2 months after my 26th birthday. He was late to a team meeting, dropped his coffee, said, well, sh*t, and grinned at me like we were already in on a joke. That was the beginning. And I told myself, in a million little ways, that nothing was happening. I told myself that flirting wasn't cheating. That admiration wasn't attraction. That I was just bored, not broken. Looking back now, it's wild how easily people lie when they're pretending to be happy. Ethan wasn't even my type. That's what I kept telling myself. He was too tall, too sarcastic, too unpolished. His hair was always messy like he'd just rolled out of bed, and his desk looked like a raccoon had tried organizing it. But he had this way of making everyone feel like the most interesting person in the room, especially me. I remember the first real conversation we had. It was after hours, one of those late evenings when everyone else had gone home and I was finishing up a campaign deck. He stopped by my cubicle, leaned on the edge like he owned the floor, and said, "You always work this hard, or are you just trying to outshine everyone subtly?" He grinned after he said it, like he knew exactly how much it would rattle me. I laughed, a little too hard, then asked if he wanted half my granola bar. That turned into a shared Uber to the train station. Then a shared coffee stop the next morning. Then inside jokes and Slack messages. And then one night, just a regular Tuesday, he texted me at 11:42 p.m. I just realized I only laugh at work when you're around. Weird, huh? I stared at the screen for way too long. Jason was sleeping next to me, mouth slightly open, arms wrapped around my waist like always. I could hear his slow, steady breathing. I should have felt comforted. I felt trapped. I didn't answer Ethan that night. But I reread the message 6 times before I turned my phone over and pretended to sleep. What no one tells you is that emotional cheating doesn't announce itself. There's no dramatic kiss in the rain. No dramatic music cue. It's a series of choices so small, they feel harmless until you're already tumbling down the slope. A joke here. A touch on the arm. The thrill of being seen by someone who doesn't know all your worst habits yet. Jason noticed before I admitted anything to myself. He started asking things like, "You seem distracted lately?" or "Is everything okay with us?" I always smiled, said I was just tired from work. He bought me flowers one night, daisies, my favorite, and I felt a sharp stab of guilt I swallowed whole. I kissed him extra that evening. Made him dinner. Told myself, see? I still love him. But then, the next day, I caught Ethan looking at me across a conference table, biting the edge of his pen, eyes full of some unspoken dare, and I felt more alive than I had in months. I wasn't cheating. Not really. Not yet. At least that's what I told myself. The first time I crossed a line, it didn't feel like a decision. It felt like gravity. It was a Friday. Rainy, slow, that kind of moody weather that makes the office feel half asleep. Our manager let us out early, and most people scattered immediately. Ethan lingered near my desk, spinning his keys around his fingers. "Happy hour?" he asked, like it was the most casual thing in the world. I hesitated. I could already see the notification from Jason. "Made us a reservation tonight. 7:30, sushi. Your fave. Red heart." But then Ethan said, "Come on. One drink. You've earned it." I texted Jason, running late. Got pulled into something with work. "Can we do dinner tomorrow instead?" He sent back a thumbs up emoji. No questions. God, he trusted me so much. Ethan and I ended up in this little dive bar not far from the office. Dim lighting, sticky tables, the kind of place where no one's trying too hard. We ordered whiskey sours, then another round, and before long I was laughing with my head tilted back like I was 17 again. He told me about his ex-total headcase, and I told him about how Jason once built me a bookshelf from scratch. "You talk about him like you're trying to convince yourself," Ethan said. His voice wasn't cruel, just observant. I remember setting my glass down carefully, like that would make the moment feel smaller. "You don't know me," I said. "Not yet," he replied. And then, like a challenge, "But I want to." That night, in my Uber home, I scrolled through old photos of me and Jason. The filtered ones, where we looked like we belonged in a catalog. And then I zoomed in on our eyes, his warm, mine distracted, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. I showered before bed. Scrubbed my skin like it could rinse away the weight of wanting someone who wasn't him. Jason was already asleep, curled on his side, oblivious. I slipped into bed beside him and stared at the ceiling, heart pounding like I'd just run a mile. I hadn't done anything wrong. But I felt like a traitor. The next week, I tried to avoid Ethan. I came in late. Ate lunch at my desk. Left without saying goodbye. He didn't push at first. But on Thursday, he cornered me in the break room. There was no one else around. "You ghosting me?" he asked, eyebrows raised. "I just think it's better if we keep it professional," I said, reaching for the coffee pot like it was a lifeline. He nodded slowly. "Sure. Professional." He gave me this half smile, amused, knowing, and walked away. But the air between us didn't go anywhere. It just changed shape. Because once you open a door like that, even a crack, it never really closes again. I used to tell myself I wasn't that kind of girl. You know the type, the one who cheats, lies, plays innocent while sneaking around. I had this whole identity wrapped up in being the good one. Responsible. Loyal. Predictable. My whole life was a clean record. And I wore that like a badge. So the irony wasn't lost on me when I found myself refreshing Slack, waiting for Ethan's name to pop up. We didn't talk for almost a week after that moment in the break room. I thought maybe it had passed, the spell, the pull, the slow motion unraveling. I avoided him, buried myself in work, let Jason take me on long walks and tell me about his plans for summer trips. I even suggested a weekend getaway, just the two of us. I thought maybe I could fix it. And then, Ethan messaged me. "Ethan, left something on your desk. No need to thank me." Me, what is it? Ethan, professionalism. Wrapped in sarcasm. I told myself not to laugh. I laughed anyway. And just like that, I was back in it. He'd left a coffee with my name scribbled on the side, except it wasn't my name. It was a nickname he made up weeks ago during some inside joke, Danger Girl. A stupid, harmless thing. But my hands trembled when I picked it up. That afternoon, I agreed to grab a drink with him after work. I don't know why. Loneliness? Curiosity? Self-sabotage? Maybe all of it. We went somewhere new this time. A rooftop bar, string lights overhead, music low and steady. Ethan sat closer than usual. His knee brushed mine once, then didn't move. I didn't pull away. "I'm not trying to mess up your life," he said suddenly. I looked at him, startled. "I know you have a boyfriend," he continued. "But whatever this is, it doesn't feel fake to me." My throat went dry. I looked down at my drink, then out at the skyline, like the view might give me the right words. "It's complicated," I whispered. "It's always complicated. That's how you know it's real." We didn't kiss. Not yet. But when we hugged goodbye, his hand lingered on my back, not long, just long enough to change everything. At home, Jason was waiting with takeout and a movie queued up. I kissed him on the cheek. He smiled like always. I sat beside him on the couch, heart split clean down the center. This wasn't who I was. But it was who I was becoming. Slowly. Quietly. And by the time I noticed, I wasn't sure how to turn back. It happened on a Wednesday. Isn't that always how it goes? Not a weekend, not a big dramatic moment, just a Wednesday. A nothing day. Jason had asked if I wanted to cook dinner together. We used to love that, remember? Picking out a recipe, playing music, dancing around the kitchen in socks. But that night, I said I had to stay late for a deadline. He didn't even question it. I packed my laptop. I even opened fake work documents on it to keep up the illusion. But at 6:48 p.m., I was in Ethan's apartment for the first time. I remember everything in sharp detail. The chipped mug on his windowsill. The record player that only played one side of the vinyl before skipping. The couch that dipped in the middle like it had stories of its own. And him, standing there, watching me like he was afraid I'd vanish if he blinked. He didn't try anything at first. He poured wine. Put on music. We sat side by side on the couch, knees touching again. Every second that passed felt like I was hovering over a cliff edge, choosing to lean forward. "I keep thinking you're going to walk away," he said, voice low. "I keep thinking I should," I replied. And then he kissed me. It was slow. Careful. Like he was trying not to scare me off. But I didn't pull away. I let it happen. I let it keep happening. I won't write out the rest. You can guess it. Or maybe you don't need to. Maybe you already know. I left his apartment at 10:22 p.m. My phone had 3 messages from Jason. "Hope your work stuff's not too stressful. Saved you some pasta. Love you." I stared at the last one like it was a foreign language. The words made sense, but I couldn't feel them anymore. On the train ride home, I cried. Not because I regretted what I'd done. But because a part of me had wanted it for so long, and now that I had it, I didn't know who I was anymore. I stood outside our apartment for a long time before going in. Practiced my face in the reflection of the glass door. Smiled until it looked real. Told myself this could still be salvaged. Jason greeted me with a hug, soft and warm. "Long night?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah," I said. "Just work stuff." And that was the first lie that really mattered. After that night, the lying got easier. That scared me more than anything. It's like something inside me flipped. A switch I didn't even know existed. I still made breakfast with Jason on Sundays. Still held his hand at his cousin's wedding. Still laughed at his dad's terrible jokes over dinner. But underneath it all, I was constantly splitting myself in two. Work me. Home me. Ethan me. Jason me. The guilt never vanished, it just became part of the routine, like brushing my teeth or checking my email. I got good at justifying things. It's not like I planned for this to happen. I still love Jason. I'm not doing this to hurt anyone. But the truth is, cheating isn't just about sex or sneaking around. It's about attention. It's about giving someone the pieces of you that someone else believes are theirs. And once I gave Ethan access to those pieces, I couldn't get them back. It wasn't sustainable, obviously. Things started to slip. Jason noticed I was weird about my phone. I started locking it, turning off notifications, face down on the table. One night, he jokingly asked, "What are you hiding? A secret identity?" I laughed too hard. I could feel his eyes watching me longer than they used to. Then there were the questions. "You're not into cooking together anymore? Why don't we go out as much as we used to? Are we okay?" I told him we were fine. Just stressed. Just busy. Just tired. But I was none of those things. I was elsewhere. I was waking up thinking about Ethan's voice in my ear. I was checking Slack before brushing my teeth. I was imagining a version of my life that didn't include the man who had loved me without hesitation for 4 straight years. Then came the photo. It was a random group pic someone from our office posted on Instagram. A team dinner, 10 of us, all crammed into a booth at some trendy tapas place. I'd invited Ethan. We hadn't sat next to each other, but we'd leaned close for the photo. Not touching. Not obvious. But something about the way we looked, too familiar, too synced, stood out. Jason saw it that night. He didn't say anything right away. Just held his phone a little longer than usual. Then he set it down and went back to whatever movie we were half watching. But I knew. I knew. There was a question sitting in the air between us now, heavy and unspoken. A thread pulled too far, about to snap. And for the first time, I wondered what he would do if he knew everything. Not just the kiss. Not just the nights. But the parts of myself I'd given away and couldn't get back. Jason didn't confront me. That's what made it worse. He just shifted. He stopped reaching for my hand on walks. Stopped asking about my day. He'd nod along when I talked, but his eyes were somewhere else. He still kissed me goodnight, but it was muscle memory. There was no weight behind it. The silence between us wasn't angry, it was exhausted. Like he already knew something was broken but hadn't figured out whether to fix it or just quietly let it rot. And me? I kept lying. I kept going to Ethan's apartment. We kept pretending it was some secret, tragic romance, like our love was too big for the world to understand. But what we had wasn't a grand story. It was a slow-motion betrayal, dressed up in charm and convenience. I started to feel like a guest in my own relationship. Every dinner with Jason felt rehearsed. Every text I sent him felt like I was writing for an audience I was starting to resent. I'd stand in the mirror and practice looking normal, happy, loving, and then I'd walk out into the kitchen and ask him if he wanted eggs or toast. I kept thinking he would catch me. That I wanted him to, maybe. Then one night, it happened. I came home late, not obscenely late, but enough. I had an excuse ready, drinks with coworkers after a pitch win. Something harmless, something believable. Jason was in the living room, sitting on the couch in the dark, phone in his lap. He didn't look up right away. "I know," he said. I froze. My bag slipped off my shoulder. He turned the phone toward me. A screenshot. My texts. My words. Not the worst ones, not explicit, but enough. Enough to know. Enough to prove. I saw a notification when your screen lit up last week. I didn't want to believe it. So I waited. Took a screenshot. Told myself I'd confront you when I was calm. His voice didn't shake. That hurt more than if he'd screamed. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. What do you say to someone who loved you in your worst moments and still got burned? I didn't want this to happen, I finally whispered. But it did, he replied. And you let it. We didn't fight. No yelling. No crying. He stood up. Walked past me. closed the bedroom door behind him. The sound felt final. I stood in the dark for a long time. Just me, the silence, and the truth. I had broken something good. Something kind. Something steady. And the worst part? I didn't even know if it was worth it. Jason didn't kick me out. He didn't beg me to stay either. For 2 full days, we coexisted like strangers in a museum of our relationship, careful, quiet, avoiding eye contact with anything that might shatter. We shared space, but not conversation. He slept on the couch. I slept in our bed, staring at the ceiling like the answer might be etched in the plaster. I didn't talk to Ethan. I couldn't. I think part of me hoped he'd reach out, ask what happened, offer some kind of something. But there was only silence. Maybe he knew, too. Maybe he could feel the collapse from wherever he was. Or maybe, and this is the part one hate admitting, maybe it was never going to be more than what it was, a detour I mistook for a destination. On the 3rd day, Jason sat me down at the kitchen table. The same one where we used to eat pancakes on lazy Sundays. He had a cup of coffee in front of him and dark circles under his eyes. "I'm not going to ask why," he said. "I already know it wouldn't help." I nodded, because I didn't have the right words anyway. He looked at me for a long time. Was it worth it? I wanted to say no. I needed to say no. But the truth sat like a stone in my throat. Was it worth it? The spark, the thrill, the stupid stolen moments that cost me everything steady and safe? I don't know, I said. Honestly. Quietly. He nodded once. That hurt more than anything. No anger. No accusations. Just disappointment, a kind of grief that had no name. "I can't do this anymore," he said. And that was it. No fight. No second chance. Just the sound of something good ending in a whisper instead of a bang. I moved out 2 weeks later. We didn't tell anyone the real reason. Mutual split, grew apart, all the usual lies we feed the people who love us. Because the truth is too messy to explain in casual conversation. As for Ethan, I saw him one more time. Briefly. He didn't say much. Just a quiet, "I didn't mean for this to happen." And I nodded, because neither did I. We drifted apart after that. No dramatic farewell. Just space. Time. Regret. It's been 4 months now. Sometimes I still wake up and expect to hear Jason brushing his teeth, humming to himself. Sometimes I reach for my phone to tell him something small, something only he would get, before I remember that I'm not allowed to do that anymore. I don't know if I miss him or if I miss the version of myself I was when I was with him. The girl who believed she was good. Who believed she wouldn't do the things she ended up doing. The thing about pretending is, eventually, you forget who you were before the performance started. And when the curtain falls, there's nothing left but an echo and an empty stage. So yeah. I broke the heart of a good man. I'm not proud. But I'm not hiding anymore either.